Welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. So it is getting close to the weekend and we are putting the finishing touches on the race car to go to the Burnouts for Blake race that I mentioned in the last video. So some of the things that we have to address, or that we are still addressing from the last video, is we have to fix the cold side. That's the biggest thing. The cold side kind of looks like it went through a blender after the last race we went to, and I'll refresh your memory. I'm going to show you right now what it looks like. Okay, so the cold side pipe that I just mentioned got really beat up, and I'm going to show you right here. Now that's what you're seeing. That's what happened to it. That backfire and the overboost from the first race, or the first time out, was bad enough where it just kind of had its way with these things and bent them up real good. So we're going to cut this pipe somewhere in this area and in this area, and we're going to weld some thicker 11 gauge 4-inch tubing in its place, so that we can put longer pieces of silicone on there and use 2 clamps per side of the silicone so we don't have this problem again. Yeah, so that's the big part of the project that we have to finish up for this race, and let's get started. Okay, we got the passenger side here, and all I did is just took it off the car, cut it on the weld, and cut 1 inch out of it and put it back together, and it's just sitting there right now. I'm going to tack it in place, and then we're going to test fit it on the car real quick. And of course the bracket's going to have to be redone, and that boogered up weld's kind of nasty, but hey, it is what it is, right? Okay, we got the other pipe, or we got the pipe on the passenger side cut apart, tacked together, and we got a new bracket on it. So this is what it looks like now. So it's probably kind of hot there. There's the bracket uses the same hole as in before. This is the area where I cut 1 inch out of it, so it would tuck closer in here and here. So now we're going to put that pipe in place and mark it so it lines up as good as we can get with this one. This is such a beating doing this with only one hand. Okay. I don't know what you can see by the video, but this pipe is lower than that one now, which was the whole goal. I wanted to raise it up about 1 inch and bring it in a little bit if possible. So we got to mark this one, cut it, tack it together, and get the middle piece set up. Alright, we got some progress here. I got this piece cut and tacked back together, and you can see it's got a little bit of movement. I don't have the clamp on the turbo type, but it lines up pretty good. So we'll take these 2 pieces off and weld them back together, and then I'm going to take this piece, cut it back here somewhere, and weld a thicker piece of this 11 gauge over here, so when I put the silicone on, it's got 2 clamps and 2 clamps on both ends, both on the thick parts. So I guess I'll get that handled real quick, and I need to move these. Might as well do that all at one time, you think? Sounds like a good idea. Alright, that looks pretty good. So now we let this side cool off and we get started working on the other side real quick. Just made it.
to North Star Dragway. We are unloading the car. Say hi to your people.
Hello, people.
It is about 12 o'clock on Saturday, and we're here for burnouts for Blake and testing the car.
Would not believe this. We got all the way to the racetrack, unloaded the car, and drove it to the end of the pits and turned around to come back to warm the car up. And lo and behold, the transmission broke. Yes, you got it right. The transmission is broke. Not quite sure what happened. You put it in low gear, give it a little bit of gas, and it acts like it's in reverse. You put it in second gear and give it a lot of gas, and it goes forward. Same for reverse. Give it a lot of got and it barely goes anywhere. So we're getting ready to pull the transmission out of it. Check it out. See if we can find out what has happened. All right, let's get the transmission fluid out of this thing and see if we can find out if there's anything bad. And I think that drain plug is about a mile long. Here we go. That fluid looks good and red. Doesn't smell too awful bad. Alright, so as you can see, I already got the transmission out of the car, and I'm trying to decide just how far I'm going to take it down. I have a pretty good idea that it burned the band up, mainly due to the fact that I had done several boost it up tests at the Motorplex the week before, and probably got it hot and burned it up. So anyways, at the very least, I think I'm gonna go ahead and tear it down to the point and see if I am correct in that the band being burned up. But I think ultimately what is going to happen is I'm going to rebuild this one fresh and sell it, because I have another Power Glide just like it, but it's a reed case. Other than that, the internals are identical and all that good stuff, so there's really no advantage to having two of them other than a very expensive spare sitting around that I haven't ever used up to this point, and it's probably easier to keep a $200 or $300 Power Glide repair kit handy as opposed to a $2,500 Power Glide sitting around. So I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit. Let's see what we find out here though. Okay, so first things first, or first impressions I guess I should say, is that what I see is the edge of the band is not black, and the fluid doesn't really smell like it's burned. Maybe a little bit hot, but not burned, not like I've seen in the past at least. And one thing to note that I didn't mention earlier is that the line pressure was down around 60 pounds when it was in low gear, and I'm not quite sure why that would have happened doing what I was doing. But I guess first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the pump apart and see if the pump is damaged. There wasn't really a whole lot of metal, and there's not a whole lot of black stuff in the fluid, so I don't know, it's kind of weird, but let's look at it and see what we find. Okay, so one thing I did notice is that seal right there is damaged when that piece comes from right there, which I don't know if you can see that in the video or not. Let's see what it looks like when we take it apart here. The surfaces look really good. The pump gears aren't scarred up. Not even a little bit. So that is definitely good news. I don't know. Let's carry on and see what else we find out. Okay, so I got the pump out, and I pulled the band out just to kind of check everything out. The edges of the band are still red in color, which is kind of deceiving because when I pulled the band out, it is definitely not in good shape. So think you can probably see right there that it's blackened pretty good. But that actually is not the problem. What I'll show you here is, if I can get it sitting so I can turn the camera over there to look at it. That is a little bit of a problem. And where that goes is, see if I can do this and hold the camera at the same time. It goes on there. Somewhere along these lines. It's welded in place. One piece goes there, and the other piece goes on the other side. I think it actually goes like this. Yeah, there you go. That one goes like that. Then this piece, I think, goes on the other side, something along those lines right there. So, it did, in fact, break the band. No big deal. Not the end of the world. Not even really an expensive fix. This transmission has been together for somewhere in the neighborhood of about 4 years. And probably has something like 150 passes on it or whatever. I mean, really isn't that much use on it to speak of. So I think we'll go ahead and tear the transmission all the way down and just do a rebuild on it anyway, since it's out of the car, and also since I'm probably going to sell this particular one. And I think that what we're going to find in the other transmission is the exact same thing, because I was doing the exact same thing when I had a problem with it. So not the end of the world, not an expensive fix, just inconvenience. But I think we will go ahead and call that the end of the video, guys. As usual, I certainly do appreciate everybody stopping by and taking time to watch the video. And since it is Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Be sure to spend time with your family, eat lots of turkey, sleep late, and all that good stuff. Stick around, and we're going to see you in the next video, and it is going to be a track day coming up in 2 days. Sunday, December 1st at the Texas Motorplex. We did a track rental. There's going to be a couple other YouTubers out there. So be sure to watch for that video coming up. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one.